Hi there, it's Jeff from Hot Tub Owner HQ, and this video is going to complete my series on waterproof Bluetooth floating speakers. And we're going to end with a complete unboxing and review of this guy from Wow Sound. Now, if you haven't seen the other videos, I did do a breakdown of a $25 one that was the best of the best in that price range, and then a $50 one that was also the best of the best in that price range. And this guy is my pick for the best of the best in the $150 price range. I did a complete unboxing and review video of each of those, but I also did a comparison between the three that mostly focused on the differences and the similarities between the three. Definitely check out that video if you haven't seen it already. I'm going to put a link to that video down below, and you'll also see a card for it towards the end of this video. But let's get going with unboxing this guy. So let's see here. And I've not opened this or checked it out in any way yet. So you're seeing the complete unboxing right here, right now. So right out of the gate, it's much heavier and much larger than the other two were. And again, definitely check out those videos if you haven't already. Comes with this. I don't know. Oh, it looks like it even comes with a waterproof floating cell phone case, I'm assuming. That's cool. The other ones definitely did not come with that. Handy carrying handle there. And we've got speakers kind of all the way around, so 4 speakers. The $50 one, it's worth noting, had 3 speakers that were even smaller than this size, but 3 of them. And then the $25 one just had the single one. Also, it looks like it has a speaker on top as well, which is cool. Okay, here are the controls right here. So it looks like that may be a waterproof cover for the charging port. And then we've got power, plus, minus. So not as many controls as the other ones had. But I guess if you're controlling it on your phone while you're in your pool or hot tub with this handy floating cover that they gave us, let's check that out real quick. Then you don't really need a lot of controls. That is totally cool. So it comes with this. It's kind of generic size, so really any size phone would fit in here. Let's see how it opens. So there's some little tabs up here at the top. And I'm guessing, yeah, this kind of like, it's like a chip clip almost. Kind of comes off like that. Then you just put your phone inside of there. So totally cool. Like I mentioned, the other ones that I reviewed did not come with anything like that. And then to seal it back up again, you'd close the little chip clips and then lock it into place, pushing the tabs towards the center. So that's a really cool feature there. So first thing we're going to have to do with this guy, though, I'm assuming, is get it charged before it'll do anything. But we're going to listen to what it sounds like. We're going to see how easy it is to set up. And then we're going to toss it in my hot tub and see how well it floats. After all, this thing is really heavy. So you're going to want to stick around to see how well it floats. Does it float or does it sink? Let's find out. But let's get going right now. So real quick, though, before we get fully into the review, in my quest to find the charging cable, which was located under the cardboard insert there, and I did find it looks like it comes with a complete charger, not just the cable. The other ones just came with a cable, and you would need a normal phone charging port, essentially, with a removable cord to be able to charge it. This one comes with the full charger, but it looks like it comes with this inflatable inner tube, and it looks like this is what allows it to float. After all, I mentioned it was pretty heavy. You can kind of see that here in this picture that comes on the box that it comes in. So it looks like it will not float on its own. You have to inflate this thing and then allow it to float. Otherwise, it probably will sink like a stone. We're going to check it both ways, though, when we get to the end of my video. Okay, I've had this thing charging now for probably an hour and a half or so. The manual does tell me that it takes 4 hours to completely charge it from being completely depleted, and it does arrive indeed completely depleted of power, or at least mine did. But it looks like it's probably got enough power for us to put it through the ringer and check it out here. So as I mentioned earlier, it's pretty heavy. I would guess this thing is at least 8 or 10 pounds. So it's much heavier than the 2 previous water tooth speakers I tested in my other videos, and definitely check those out if you haven't seen them yet. So to turn it on, we simply press this power button, which I already did, and it announces to me that the power is on. I see a plus and minus button there, but otherwise there's no buttons on this thing anywhere. So the next step, I think, is going to be to see how easy it is to pair this thing to my phone. I do normally use my phone to shoot my videos, but luckily I have a spare phone that doesn't have cell service, but it does connect to my Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So we're going to go ahead and see how easy this is to connect. Now this thing is called a Wow Sound speaker. So I'm going to take a look here and see. I'm going to hit the refresh button just in case. There it is. Now I see Wow Sound. I like the fact that the actual brand name is what it's called in the Bluetooth list. The other two speakers I tested out weren't quite that clear in how they showed up on my Bluetooth list. So I'm just hit pairing, and you heard it just now say connected. So the next step is going to be to test out the audio quality of this thing. Of course, YouTube would not allow me to play anybody's music without paying royalties on that, and I could get shut down, or at least get this video banned if I used just some random music. Luckily, I'm also a musician, so I'm going to play one of my own songs to test out the audio quality of this thing. So I'm just going to hit start on the song. I've got the volume all the way up on my phone, and I'm going to hold this relatively close to my microphone here. Audio quality I feel like is pretty good. Let's see how loud it gets. With the size of this thing, I would think it should be able to get pretty loud. I'm going to pause it on my phone because I don't immediately see a way to pause the music on the controls right here. But I am going to take a look at the manual. It comes with a fairly extensive manual here, as you can see. And I'm going to see what some of the options are here. Luckily, they have a kind of a quick start cheat sheet guide right there on the inside page. I like that too. It says to pause or play, tap the power button while the speaker is on. So the power button is right here, and I had to press and hold that to turn it on. So it sounds like I can just tap it to play the music or pause the music. Let's see if that works. Yep, that works great. Let's see what else shows up in this kind of quick start guide list right here. You can skip to the next song by pressing the plus button, or go back to the previous song by pressing the minus. Fairly self-explanatory. The plus and minus buttons are right there. Let's check and see if that works. This is the first song in my playlist, so we're going to have to skip forward before we can go back. So it's not immediately apparent to me how to skip forward, although one of the presses I did there obviously restarted that same song. Let's check this again. Skip to next song, double tap. Sorry, I missed that part earlier. So double tap the plus or minus buttons. Let's try that. I'm going to unpause. All right. Double tapping did move to the next song. Let's try it one more time. All right, and now I'm going to double tap the minus. That's restarting the same song. All right, so it seems like double tapping the minus button goes back to the beginning of the song you're listening to, so you actually have to quadruple tap it to go to the previous song. Not a big deal, and relatively explanatory now that I've read the manual. It would be cool if maybe there was a few extra controls here so that you weren't exclusively bound to doing everything simply by 3 different buttons. The cheaper waterproof speakers that I tested did actually have a few more buttons to kind of make some of that a little bit more intuitive, but I do think that once you have a clear understanding of how the buttons work, you're floating in your hot tub or your swimming pool, it's not going to be a very big deal at all. I think the next thing, though, is going to be to test this thing out and see how it floats. And as I mentioned earlier, it comes with an inflatable inner tube that it has to sit in. I don't think it's going to float at all on its own, especially given how heavy it is. But we're actually going to try it both ways and see if this thing does anything on its own or if you have to use the inner tube. So let's head out there now. Okay, so now it's time to put our wow sound to the test here. And again, we're supposed to be able to float this by itself or with this little donut inner tube that it came with. So let's first of all see what happens when we plunk it in. So dropping it in, it did not sink. It does indeed float. It sinks about halfway though. In other words, the water level gets to about there. Let's see what the sound quality is with it sitting like that. First thing I'm going to do is pair it to my Bluetooth. Again, this just shows up as wow sound.
Connected.
All right, you heard it connect. We're going to go over to Spotify. And again, I'm going to just play one of my songs so there's no copyright infringement issue. So definitely sounds decent. Noticing the battery hatch came open there a little bit. Definitely sounds a little bit waterlogged though. I'm going to blow these out. And now let's see what it sounds like in this little floating donut thing. The bottom of it has this, and then there's that same indentation in this inner tube here to allow it to just sit perfectly like that. It's not even remotely touching the water now. So now let's see what it sounds like. So sound quality is really unbeatable with this thing. It really sounds good, has deep, rich bass. I feel like, especially in the donut, it's a little bit large for a hot tub, but I think it would work great in a swimming pool. But let's see what the jets do to this thing once I turn the jets on and see how much it bounces around. Let's check that out. Here we go. So really, it didn't do much to have the jets on. Again, I think this thing is a little bit big for the size of my hot tub, but it would be great in a swimming pool. I think if I did want to have it, and because I have a pool and a hot tub, I think, it'd be worth getting this, but I might set it out on the edge if I'm getting in my hot tub, and as opposed to putting it into my swimming pool. But overall, I'm really pleased with this thing. It even sounded halfway decent when it was halfway underwater, but it sounds really good floating in that donut thing. Okay, so today we reviewed the Wow Sound. This thing is about $150 on Amazon. Again, I'm going to link to it down below in the description if you want to check it out. However, before you do that, you probably are going to need to watch this video where I compared 3 different Bluetooth speakers, one of which was this one, but I compared a $25 one, a $50 one, and a $150 one side by side. I did sound comparisons both in and out of my hot tub. That way you can hear them side by side. I go through all of the features and how they compare to each other. That way you can make the best choice for you and your budget. The $150 one definitely sounds great, but is it the right one for you? And could you get just as much value out of a $25 or $50 one? You're gonna wanna watch that video. I'm gonna put a link to it down below in the description, and you're gonna see a card for it up on the screen here in just a second. But of course, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. It not only sends a great message to YouTube, but it helps the algorithm grow my channel and show it to more people just like you. And it's a great way to say thank you to me for putting together content like this and spending money buying speakers like this so I can show them to you. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.